My name's Nikola. Hello. I am an Australian. I've been in the UK for 5 years. Previous to Salesforce, I am a florist. So I took a pretty deep career turn coming into Salesforce. I had my daughter at literally the first week of the pandemic. So while on maternity leave, I sort of reevaluated what I wanted to do for my career, really. Retail and floristry no longer suited my lifestyle, and I needed to do something different. So I started looking into coding to begin with. I really enjoyed it. Did it for a few months and then realized it was quite an intense area, and I didn't have the time that I needed to devote to it. So I pivoted again, and I found Salesforce and Supermums sort of in the same go on LinkedIn, of all places. I was just having a bit of a scroll and trying to brainstorm what I was going to do, and I realized that I did like tech, but coding was just a bit too much for me. And just from having a look, a Supermums ad popped up on my LinkedIn, and I thought, oh gosh, I've heard of Salesforce. And so I clicked into it, and I honestly looked at it, talked to my husband, and enrolled in the course in I think about 3 days.
Yeah.
I think the most was the community of women and the couple of blokes, of course, that I came to know through the course. We were all in the same place in life, wanting the same, to get the same out of it. We were just in it together, and there was a real like camaraderie between us all to work together and learn together, and we all understood the same pain points that we had in each other's lives, being that we were all mothers. And I just loved that, and that made it such a richer learning experience. I wanted to come along to the classes. I wanted to do the homework, and I wanted to keep interacting with everybody on my course. And I think in some of like adult learning education, there's so many circumstances where you don't really want to interact with anyone. You just want to go in and then go back out again. Yeah. But that's not the case with Supermums. It's such a community. You get to know everyone and you want to stick around. And that was my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, what's nice, what I can see is a lot of our Supermums, they build those strong relationships with people in their cohort. And even when they finish the course, they maintain that and they support one another. So, we really pride ourselves on that community aspect, and just being able to put people in an environment where they're supported and around like-minded people, because as you'll know, like, it makes the journey more enjoyable and less daunting when you're supported. So could you maybe share a bit about your experience with having a mentor to support you throughout the programme, and then also the work experience project? Did you find those things added benefits?
Most definitely. My mentor, Amy, it gave me the confidence to know that everything that I was doing within the course in the real world really applied, and that what I was doing was correct, and that I was on the right track and thinking in the right way for the real world and the workforce. Because what we do in the course, I mean, obviously they're real work case studies, but it is made up, and you do wonder, oh, is this going to work in the real world? Yeah. And to have a mentor that looks at it all and says, yes, this really does apply, this is how it's used, was invaluable. And then obviously Amy's really lovely, and she was just great to chat to every week. So I work at a Salesforce consultancy firm. Well, I'm in a team of 4. We do all sorts of different things every day, which is what I really love about my job. We work on multiple different projects. So I'm slowly becoming an all-rounder admin is how I feel about it. So one day I'm working a lot in Service Cloud, others day I'm working a lot in Sales Cloud, and I really enjoy that. We're working on multiple projects, which also means if I'm struggling in one area, I can put down a project and pick up another and continue on. And I really like that. I think it's growing me to have a well-rounded knowledge in all different areas. I'm not pigeonholing myself just yet. I think I'm new and I want to learn everything. Yeah, I think the main one for me is problem solving. I think you don't really have to have a tech background to come into this. You can easily learn it. And every challenge you come across is just a problem to solve. Like, I think that's the best best one that gets brought across. Communicating with stakeholders, like in all of your previous roles and even in general life, learning how to communicate with people and teach people how to use different facets of the platform is really important, and definitely something that you bring across. Yeah, I mean, obviously the admin first and foremost, of course, and through the course, you are equipped to be able to take the admin exam at the end. And I really feel like I was definitely at the end of the course with the extra studying that you also do, you can definitely take it. Going on from admin, I'm personally going towards the consulting certification, sales and service. I think in all of my projects, that's where I'm spending most of my time.
Yeah.
I think very close to that would be marketing cloud and Pardot, but I'm leaning towards the consultancy personally. It works for me. Yeah. But also there's so many niches you can go down as well. Like as you go along, you might find you do really like coding and all the developer side. And there is a whole career avenue you could go down just from that. And that's the best thing, I think, from Salesforce is you can really change and pivot as you come across new things. Yes. So for part of my workplace project with Supermums, I was placed with a charity, and their pain point and what I came in to help with was that their user adoption in their org was very poor. People didn't understand how to use the platform to the point where they were still using post-it notes to communicate with one another in the business. And obviously things get lost in translation. They were on different sites, so messages were completely being missed. They were using multiple different platforms as well to communicate, and it just wasn't cohesive. Neither was their training across their platforms. There was nothing centralized. There was nothing written down that explained anything. So people were relying on one another to get their training. And if one person left, it left a big gap in the system of how do we do this thing? They took their knowledge with them, essentially. Yeah. So that's where I came in to try and solve that problem for them. So I did some Googling, as everybody does, to come up with different solutions. And I came across improved apps on the App Exchange. I did a nice little comparison presentation for my charity and compared a couple of different options for them, keeping in-house with things like knowledge articles, doing a completely different system that integrated into Salesforce, or improved apps. I obviously thought that was the best option for them. It seamlessly integrated in. It wasn't something that was plonked on top. It became a part of their system, and it was incredibly user-friendly, which is what I thought was going to be the best option for my charity. There wasn't anything extra that that the staff had to learn that they were already struggling to pick up. It just helped them to use the system that they already had. So even at my point in my Salesforce journey then was quite naive and novice. I had no problems in talking to Simon. I was able to get guidance whenever I needed, and implementing it in was easy. Like if I could do it, anyone could do it, sort of a vibe. But I think what I love about improved apps and why I've become such an avid fan of them is the level of technical support that they were willing to give me. They were happy to get on almost weekly calls with me to talk me through how to make the system work best for my charity. They were passionate about not only helping charities, but also making sure that their system worked the best that it could for those people. I just thought it was so great. Like no question was too silly or too complicated or anything for them. Tom and Dave were always willing to get on a call with me and go through anything that I needed to. And especially at my level of my journey then, I needed that. And without it, it might have all fallen apart because I didn't have the skills to back it up back then. And they helped bridge the gap for me so that the client was happy, but that also we were all happy and working together. And that's what I love about them. I think what I liked the most and what worked was the fact that you could put in the system into Salesforce really almost subtly. You could just create little buttons where you needed them, where the information was required. It didn't sort of just clunkily sit on top. You didn't have to go into another app to make it work for your client. It just integrated in very nicely and subtly, and it helped everybody to understand what they needed to do to use the platform. So and then analyze that as well, like how often was this particular area clicked or not clicked on? Do we need to make that a bit more user friendly for our client, or should we move to a different area that people are struggling with? That's what I found to be the best part of their system. Yes, I definitely would. I think that goes without saying, doesn't it? Yeah. Most definitely. I would say I was that person. I was exactly that person. I was very nervous. It's money to put out when you don't know if you're going to be able to get it back. It's for most people, you're also a stay-at-home mum, and trying to juggle the time to learn while taking care of your child is really, it's tough. But if you just put aside that little bit of time each week, it's not hard. It is scary, but it's not hard. It's a temporary journey that you go on for a much bigger reward down the line. Like where I am now and what I've been able to achieve in that year, I definitely thought I wouldn't have been able to do it. But all it took was a little bit of determination and focus, and I got through it. And you can get through it even with your baby on your lap. And with this community, that's a good thing to have your baby on your lap. It's not frowned upon. You're not looked at funny for it. It's encouraged. And I think that's, with that sort of mentality, you can do it, and you can get to such a nice part of life where I'm now working full-time again in a completely new industry with a lifestyle that I honestly could have only dreamed about 3 years ago. Never would have thought this would have been possible. Here I am. And if I can do it, so can anyone else.